Ukraine war video shows drone destroying Russian tank. There has been no shortage of videos shared on social media that show what ordnance dropped from a drone can do to a tank or other armored vehicle. But a new clip posted to Twitter on Monday captured the total obliteration of a Russian BM-21 shared by Ukraine weapons tracker at all weapons featured the exact moment a seemingly small piece of ordnance fell into the open hatch of the infantry fighting vehicle. Normally, in such clips, we'd expect to see a small flash followed by a plume of smoke. Even that resulting explosion can be enough to seriously damage a vehicle. The battle for Bakhmut has been fought from the trenches with relentless artillery and rocket fire across a heavily mined battlefield, described as a meat grinder by commanders on both sides. It also involved house-to-house fighting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has described the Bakhmut fortress as a symbol of defiance drying up the Russian military. For Russia, the fall of the Soviet-era city known as Artemovsk would be its first major seizure since mid-2022 and a boost in the wider war against Ukraine. Today, the armed forces of Ukraine shared a dramatic moment when Ukrainian troops blew up 3 Russian tanks with precision, executed long-range missiles. The fiery explosion also killed at least 10 Russian soldiers and 5 others were injured. This footage was released by the 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and shows 3 Russian tanks in flames after a direct hit. Ukrainian forces have secured a key victory in a major battleground, but have been warned they still remain vulnerable to Russian attacks from other directions. After months of unrelenting infantry and artillery attacks over the winter, Russian forces now stand poised to finally capture the city and overcome the defenders' brave resistance. Russia has suffered 100,000 casualties in the last 5 months in a fatal defensive attempt to take squads of eastern Ukraine. The new figures suggest that Russian losses have increased significantly in light of their attempted spring offensives, with the recognizable switch to defensive positions, implying that Putin's soldiers have now abandoned that drive to ready themselves for Ukrainian counterattacks. The Ukrainian counterattack has ousted Russian troops from several positions in the besieged eastern city of Bakhmut, but the situation remains difficult, said Army Commander Colonel Oleksandr Syrsky. Defense Forces Aviation on the last day carried out only 4 sorties on places of concentration of manpower and military equipment of the Russian occupiers. It is many times less than the average indicator who wants more. Video footage shows the FPV drone flying into the basement of a small, completely destroyed house, where 6 Russian invaders had just entered, and exploding there. And a small FPV drone carries around a kilogram of explosives. Most likely, all colonists suffered to a greater or lesser extent. More than 20,000 Russian troops have been killed and more than 80,000 injured in just 5 months of fighting in Ukraine, accelerating heavy losses for Russia, U.S. intelligence officials estimate. Most of the troops died in brutal trench warfare for the small eastern town of Bakhmut, which Russia has repeatedly claimed was on the verge of capture. White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said as he revealed the new estimates Monday. The losses accelerated Russia's toll even from the bloody first days of the war and overshadowed some of the bloodiest Allied battles of the Second World War, Kirby added. Additionally, a video shows fighters from the 110th Separate Mechanized Brigade in the occupied Novoselivka Druga area, north of Avdiivka, destroying a tank and a Russian invader infantry fighting vehicle. According to units of the Ukrainian armed forces, the attack on the tank took place in the Donetsk region. The full clip shows several Russian tanks moving in the area before they are attacked. The footage also cuts to Ukrainian soldiers as they fire their Javelin missiles. Video clips then shows several Russian tanks being attacked and set on fire. A new video shared by the Ukrainian armed forces also shows a brutal attack from Ukrainian drone that also obliterated a Russian target in a trench using drone bombs. The video consists of two parts taken by drone. In both cases, the direct hit of the first shots was shown. First on a tank in the forest, then on an infantry fighting vehicle near the destroyed house. Meanwhile, on Saturday, Yevgeny Prigozhin, commander of the Russian mercenary Wagner group, threatened to pull his men back from Bakhmut unless they received additional ammunition. According to the Washington-based Institute for the Study of War, he warned Wagner's troops would soon need to retreat in an organized manner or stay and die, and urged Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu to discharge ammunition immediately. Russian troops conducted an unsuccessful offensive operation around Severin and Pervomaisk in Donetsk Oblast. Over the past few days, the Air Force of the Ukrainian Defense Forces destroyed 3 Russian multiple launch rocket systems and carried out 7 attacks on the labor group. Ukrainian defenders shoot down Russian Orlan-10 reconnaissance UAV. Rocket force and artillery units attacked a control point, 6 groups of weapons and military equipment, 2 ammunition and 1 storage point for fuel and lubricants used by the Russians. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed his military was preparing a counterattack during an interview with Scandinavian media on Saturday. Over the coming weeks, the ground, currently filled with silt, is expected to solidify in eastern Ukraine, making offensive military operations easier. Meanwhile, Ukrainian troops also shelled a village in Russia's Bryansk region, which borders Ukraine, on Tuesday morning, the local governor said in a social media post, a day after the explosion that derailed a freight train in the region.